Hello. Welcome, the few, the proud, the ones who don't have a room party to go to the video game voice actor panel. I'm Wes Johnson.
I'm Mike Rawson.
And we do video
We're
game
Rawson and
voices. We're actors. We're vagabonds. We're men about town.
Bon vivants.
Yeah. You can tell that we're not the trustworthy type.
Why
just
I
look at
make
the
the
hat.
flesh crawl on a squid.
So today we're just going to open this up. We're going to chat. We're going to ask questions. You guys can ask questions. It's a small group. If you feel like you want to stand up and chat, you can do that. If you want to get up on the mic, that way. This is going out via Twitch right now, yes? So if you get up on the microphone, then everybody can hear you on Twitch. And everybody can hear you here, and maybe people will start slowly making their way in. But first things first, how many of you have filled out your little cards? Okay, take your pens, leave them on the tables next to the unwritten signs, and just bring the cards up here. You can take one person from your row as the designated card bringer if you'd like. If you trust, bring them on up. Thank you very much. We'll leave these up here. Thank you. Hello, I know you, sir. Flip them up. I thank you very much. Anybody get here after we filled out the cards? Then find a pen, sign a little something. When you're done with it, you can bring it up, or you can bring them up later. Just put a little phrase or something on there. Drop it upside down so we can't see it. There we go. We'll do a little shuffling, and we'll do a little playing with those a little bit later on. In fact, Mike, let's start off with Mike. We're going to have Mike tell you a little bit about himself, what he does, what you might know him from.
I started off as a child.
With a full beard.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. But doing voices and imitating other people, mimicking and sometimes mocking the way they spoke. And my brothers and I did the same thing, and we also fell in love with doing routines, getting them down and Marx Brothers routines, Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, and those kind of things. And, of course, we entertained the guests. And in high school, in grade school, in 6th grade, I did a talent show, and no brag, just fact, they told me I stole the thing. They told me for a couple of years after that.
He spent a couple of years in reform school for it.
Yeah, well, that's true, too. But we don't talk about that.
Oh, thief!
But I did vocal impressions. It was what people did back then, like Rich Little, and we did all the things. And I'm afraid some things might date me because we do impressions of Jimmy Cagney and Bela Lugosi,
Well, you know what they say. If you can't date
now.
someone, date yourself.
Now, vocal impressions is more of a tool than a showcase thing that comics do, I think.
Well, yeah.
And so that's where I got started, and then I did stand-up comedy with a partner in the 80s, and we were the Video Pirates, and made use of our vocal skills. We sang, we played, we made merriment up and down the stage.
You have no idea how very popular the Video Pirates were when they came out. When I first met Mike, he was in his full pirate regalia.
I was Captain Cable. Clark Cable. And my partner was Skinbeard the Sailor, the third, PhD. And I was the straight grumpy guy, and he was the clowny goof-off. And we evolved a tradition where we'd argue a la the Smothers Brothers, and once a set, I would kill him in one way or another. Shoot him, stab him, strangle him. And he'd sing from the floor.
With a gun that had a live blank in it with a loud round. It would startle the audience. They sometimes had to cart a few people. They'd be like, ha ha, and they cart him out. He literally killed the audience.
Yeah, we strove for that awkward silence that people were sort of, hey, wait, is this what's going on here? You know, Smothers Brothers would yell at each other, but we were fighting on
Yeah,
the
but
stage.
other comics, and I was coming up at the same time. I mean, when we were doing stand-up comedy around the same times, this is the time when you had Patton Oswalt was in town. You had Martin Lawrence. Who else was out here doing their thing?
Well, the Fat Doctor, who
Fat
discovered
Doctor.
a whole lot of people, Martin Lawrence included, and he gave us
Yeah.
our first job. Darcel Blagman, he's still playing. I think he's got a club in Laurel.
Is he still fat, and is he still a doctor?
I am not sure, but if I know Darcel, he probably is.
Cool. Well, if you're watching, Darcel, thank you for what you've
love
done
you,
for
Doctor.
everybody. Yeah.
He gave a lot of people a lot of good chances. And so then, doing the stand-up, I got noticed by some other people who asked me to do some ads for Metro, I think it was, and Don Beyer down in Virginia.
Yeah.
And then we were working with an agent, John Cummings, I think it was. Back
I
then.
do remember him.
Yeah, and he got us, he kind of footed the bill for us to get in the union and made us a tape to circulate, so we started getting a lot of voice work jobs, my partner and I. And he's sort of somewhat retired since then, but I've kept on, taking every opportunity I can to perform in any venue.
Well, you also started doing the video games, which is, just a natural for you. I mean, Mike has so many voices. Well, tell me how many, you do like all these different cartoon characters. Let us hear a few of those that are rolling around inside
Well,
you.
the classics. I was talking to fella Justin earlier. He was a cartoon aficionado, and we were going on about Mel Blanc and who doesn't love Mel Blanc. And so, of course, you got your Bugs Bunny, and what's up, Doc? You know, and Yosemite Sam! And, God, who else? He didn't do Elmer Fudd. but-
right? You do Popeye.
Oh, and Popeye, yeah. We used to have a whole routine about Popeye. And people ask me, does the gob voice hurt when you do that? And I say, no, of course not. But Popeye, sometimes if you do that and you haven't warmed up, that one will hurt you if you
Without
not
your
careful.
spinach, you could be in trouble.
Well, the whole idea of Popeye, there's two ranges you can do. Everyone can do the silly little mutterings under the breath. Oh, what do you think of that, hello, what do you, I think I need some spinach. But if you're going to talk like him, you got to clamp your larynx shut and scream. Shite. Yeah, well, you might shite yourself. So be careful doing this. Kids, don't try this at home. But it goes something, exactly like this.
Oh, I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eats me spinach. I'm Popeye the Swab Sailor Man.
And, thank you.
How many people out there remember the old Andy Griffith show? Let me see your hands here. Yeah.
Classic.
So there is no better impersonation of Don Knotts, Barney Fife, than this man right here. Close your eyes, for everybody. Close your eyes, and then think about Don Knotts and give us a little something like he's up here. So now it's time for me to interview Don Knotts. Don, I'm surprised to find you alive.
Well, the rumors of my death were greatly exaggerated, you know.
Well, I mean, it was in all of the news.
Yeah, but I'm immortal. I've been immortalized. I'm on film, you know. Film, they say.
Are
Down
you
there in
saying that
Maybank.
you're a vampire, Don Knotts?
Well, no, but I'm not quite dead yet, you know. I'm here. I'm around. I'll be around for a long time. Whenever there's a perpetrator jaywalking rampantly, I'll be there, Buster.
That's
And don't
sort of
you
like
forget it.
I won't.
You want to
I
let me
won't.
do this interview, fella?
No, you go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, all right. Now, men, we just have a few simple rules. First rule is obey all rules. Second rule is no writing on the walls, as it takes a lot of work to scrub it off. That's all the rules.
Now, how close was that? That was pretty great, right? I've known Mike forever and ever. When I was coming up, we were doing a thing, the funniest person in Washington contest. That wasn't the first time we met. We met on the old Arch Campbell show years ago.
That's right. And once on the Metro, we got
And
to
well,
talk.
the Metro, I think, came after the first
that
two
after?
meetings.
Okay.
That was like our third. The Metro kind of cemented it because we met each other professionally a couple times. The first time was the Arch Campbell show, and I had been doing a play called Rap Master Ronnie, which was Ronald Reagan. And I had to wear a stuffed chest I'm about, 6 inches shorter than Reagan, so I had these boots with lifts in them, and I had a pompadour wig, and
He was frightening. He was really frightening.
There you go again. And I'd play the president of these United States of America. And so I went on the show to do this, and I met the pirates. So they didn't see me. They didn't know what I looked like in real life because I wore this makeup like 45 minutes at the turkey neck, the whole thing. And we laughed around, joked around, had some and they said, come out anytime. And then we met at the comedy contest, and suddenly I'm not wearing the makeup. In fact, I wasn't even wearing a shirt then. I was wearing a pair of corduroy shorts, a dress jacket, a pair of tennis shoes, and some weird kind of hat. And we went up, and we were both getting laughs and laughs. And there was a gentleman who was doing the emceeing of the show, and he wasn't getting any laughs. So Mike and I...
What was that? Oh.
Yeah, we know who it is. Yeah. And we're standing behind the stage, and there's a scrim behind us that's very thin. And we start making barnyard animal noises. Every time he finishes a joke, it sounds like little things going on. Crowd is starting to laugh every time they hear these at the end of every joke. And he comes off stage, and we suddenly, it started with me and Mike, and then Mark Skinbeard joined in. The three of us are just like, we're like a whole barnyard right behind his head the whole time. And we started off softly, and by the time it's done, it was kind of like, animals gone wild. And he comes around the corner and goes, did you hear that out there? And we're like, what? No? Us? No. What did you hear? I don't know. And he goes, I killed. He had no clue that the whole time they're laughing at the animal sound. So at that point, we're like fast friends. And so we met on the Metro later, and then Mike and I have just become great friends since. And when he got into the video games, they asked me. I got to jump in first, got my toes wet with Bethesda, and they said, who do you know who might be good? And there were only a couple names that came to mind. And there were two females that you may have heard of in different games. One was Jan Johns, who's amazing, and Sherry Elliker, who's terrific. And then the no-brainer right here, and I mean that not that you have no brain, but that it was a no-brainer putting you into the thing.
My hat felt empty.
Mike Rawson was born to do character voices. And the next thing you know, Colin Moriarty's there. Give me a little Colin.
Say who again?
Colin Moriarty.
Oh, well, if I can remember, I remember just doing a sort of a soft Celtic accent like that. Just very gentle and just a bit of a lilt to it.
Well, he got angry.
But intimidating.
Occasionally. Yeah.
It would get stronger if he got angry, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a Gob, and you played Professor Lesko and a bunch of different
characters. And tried hard
characters.
not to riff on Frink.
Yes.
Simpsons Frink. Tried really hard to be eccentric and scientific without, Jerry Lewis.
A little Jerry Lewis,
Yeah.
you got to sprinkle a bit of that in there.
Sure,
Just a little
because it's expected.
Jerry Lewis fairy dust when you're doing something. When I grew up, I was a huge Jerry Lewis fan, and and you talked about Mel Blanc earlier. As voice actors, it doesn't get any better than Mel Blanc.
Mm-hmm. He's the king.
He's like the Godfather. He goes back. He's like from where we all come. There were other people doing voices, but nobody like Mel Blanc was. And
the elasticity and the character, the inventiveness of it.
The inventiveness and how different he made everything sound. And when you found out that the entire Warner Brothers catalog was this one guy, it was stunning.
It was.
The poster when he passed away that said speechless with an empty microphone and all the characters with their head down still will make me cry to this day. So don't show it to me.
Yeah. And on top of that magnificent instrument of his larynx, he was a charming, wonderful person and a seasoned comic. His sense of timing and presence was
He's on all the
superb.
radio shows of the day. Everybody wanted him. He'd go from radio show to radio show to radio show.
Jack Benny was the bane of his life in that universe. Every time he'd show up, he'd just cause no end of trouble, and Mel Blanc's character would go home and complain to his wife.
Yeah.
And it was routine and expected and beautiful.
Now, the thing about Mel, though, is that when he was working with Warner Brothers, and he was doing so much work for them, and they were not getting paid a whole lot of money. And Mel asked for a raise. And they were like, no, we're not going to give you a raise. So Mel said, give me a credit. Nobody had a voice credit. Nobody knew who was doing the voices before Mel Blanc. Mel Blanc received a credit, and he said it was the smartest thing he ever did, because when people realized that it said vocal characterizations Mel Blanc, and he's the only one who's doing the voices for all these cartoons, that's when all the radio shows started calling, and he started getting tons more work because of it. So we've discovered in voice acting and acting and anything of that nature, work begets work. You know, you get out there, the word of mouth starts to spread, you get people who believe in you, and they'll tell somebody else, and they tell two friends, and so on and so on. But Mel was the one who did it, and I went out, we had a comedy troupe called Fresh Victims, and we did a show in L.A., and when I was out there at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, the Jewish section is right next door to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and right there, when you drive in, is Mel Blanc's headstone. And it says on it, "That's all, folks." And I walked up to it, and there are all the stones on it, and I had gone there one day, and I came back the day after our first show. Someone had given me a white rose, a single white rose. And I didn't want it to die, didn't know what to do with it, so I said, I'm taking it to Mel Blanc. So I was laying this rose down. I just started talking earnestly from my heart to Mel Blanc and thanking him for everything that he ever did and inspiring me. His book that he wrote, That's Not All, Folks,
That's Not All, Folks,
was just remarkable and must reading. If you ever want to be a voice actor or an actor, read that, because it's just, I mean, a charmed life. Made me wish I lived in that era. And so I'm talking
Also
to Mel.
surmounting some serious
Yeah, very serious, yeah.
stuff too.
So I'm thanking him for all of this, and I say to him, Mel, man, if you were here, I wonder what you would say to me. And just at that moment, outside of the bushes that are as big as the walls here, so you can't see outside, these big hedges all the way around on the street, a novelty car horn goes off, and it goes da 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 da. And all the flesh started crawling on my arms, and the hairs are standing up, and I'm like, thanks, Mel, take care, see you later. And got out of there. But I'd like to think that Mel was talking to me, you know. So, you know, we all have our heroes and the people that we get into this for, you know. Comedy-wise, Jerry Lewis, when I was a kid, I used to do shows and pretend I was Jerry Lewis, you know, annoyed everybody in the family. Mel Blanc, as far as voice is concerned, because, you know, hell, it doesn't go beyond that.
Rich Little and David Fry.
Rich Little, got to meet Rich Little once and
yeah.
tell him that I admired him. I discovered something that when you tell people, and you're a full grown-ass man with gray hair, and tell them that you loved them when you were a kid, they hate that.
Or when a lovely young lady comes up to me and says, you were at my birthday party and you made my, when was it? It's when I was 4.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back in time for a minute, too.
Let's go back in time. Diddle, 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 diddle.
Our long association, Lo These Many Moons, was also from a different direction with you and my brother at the Animation House. And
Right.
Les, if you did not know, is a quite accomplished graphic artist, and was drawing and doing animation for this place.
Yeah.
with
Used
my
to do a
brother
daily
and-
comic strip. Yeah.
And because of his association with those people and my brother, I got to work with him in some other capacities, making a movie called
Oh,
The
yeah.
Better Half, and associated with Stefan and Bess and those
Yeah.
glorious, wonderful people that I'll never forget.
The people that you meet as you're, you know, you work with people on the way up who are like-minded. I had good advice from somebody once. They said the people that you're going to see, and you're going to go out to places where people do the work, and the ones who grouse about it and never want to do anything about it, but just want to complain about how they don't get work and want to bitch about the people who do, don't hang out with them. Because they're going to get more satisfaction out of complaining and bitching about what they don't have than the people who are like, come on, man, let's do it. You know the old adage, hey, let's put on a show? It doesn't get more real than that. You make it happen. We went out and did our own stuff. You go out and do stand-up. You do your own stuff. You go out, we do sketch comedy. I built my own comedy troops, and we started doing it and ended up working out and doing television and radio. I ended up working with Wolfman Jack. That's right, baby, the Wolfman Jack. Remember American Graffiti? All right, are your little peaches sweet? And Wolfman was great. I took Mike Rawson to go meet Wolfman, and this is unfortunately 2 weeks before Wolfman Jack passed away.
But
We're
I'll tell you, there's a memorable
Hollywood.
moment. I walked into the, what was it, the Hard Rock
This
Cafe?
was Planet Hollywood at the time.
Planet Hollywood. I knew it was one of those rock-themed places. And they were expecting me, and I walked in, and Wolfman was on the mic. He was doing an ad spot. And then just as I walked by, they cut from the ad, and he was off the mic, and he looked at me, and he didn't know me from Adam, but he pointed at me and said, "I know you're somebody." And you talk about getting a thrill.
And, well, Mike, you
was
should
awesome.
know, shows up wearing, like, thank you for that. God bless you, sir. Mike shows up wearing a top hat, a long flowing black coat, just like Wolfman wears a long flowing black coat. And, you know, we did a sketch. I don't think it was that night. You met him and chatted.
Right.
And no, it was 3 weeks before he passed away. Because the next week, we did a bit, which you can still hear on YouTube if you go look it up, where we improvised the thing. And he was Don Knotts, and I was Arnold Schwarzenegger as the proprietor of Planet Hollywood, and Wolfman Jack. And we improvised the whole bit live on the air. And it was great fun. And then the next week, you called in and did one other thing, I believe.
On the phone, yeah.
On the phone.
Yeah.
And then Wolf unfortunately passed away the week after. So Mike and I drive down to Belvedere, North Carolina, where Wolfman Jack's funeral is being held. And I brought Mike along, and Mike wears the same kind of big top hat and the whole thing. And as he's walking around amongst all these people, Wolfman's family, Wolfman's friends, the people who worked with him throughout the years, and they're all going, "Oh, I bet Wolfman loved you." And it's true.
Yeah.
The sad thing is you had just formed a fast friendship. You were going to get Mark, our friend who's Skinbeard the Pirate, to come meet him. And Wolfman Jack, if he liked you, you became fast friends. I got to work with him for the last 2 years of his life. And I met him doing impressions and voices. First time I met him was at Six Flags because they introduced me to him, and I had just gotten off a flume ride, and I looked like a wet rat. And Wolfman was like, "What the hell is this, man?" So, but the next time we went out to like this barbecue place, and he's testing the Howlin' hot sauce, like at a Hard Times chili place, you know, and we're upstairs in a separate room. And they had me doing voices, and we just started playing and improvising back and forth. Wolfman's already sampled about 16 different hot sauces. He's sweating like he's running the Boston Marathon. And he's got these big sweat circles under his arm, look like the size of a trash can lid each. And it's only just because these hot sauces are kicking his ass. And he goes, I love this guy. Come here, man. And he gets up and he opens up that wingspan, and I'm looking at those sweat stains. And he comes up and grabs me in a headlock and like, yeah. And I'm like, and that was the beginning of a fast friendship. But I would come in, I'd bring scripts to him every week. I'd write all these scripts and come in, and he'd be laughing and reading them and go, "Hey, that's all right, you know, give him 5. How you doing, baby? Great to see you." Wonderful to work with, just true salt of the earth. And we went one time to Mick Fleetwood's club over in Alexandria, where he was doing music. And I got to go meet him in the dressing room. And they opened the door. And the steam came out like we were entering Willie Nelson's bus. It was amazing. I miss him to this day. I truly do. And when Wolfman Jack passed away, just 10 hours after I'd done my last show with him, and he signed the very last copy of his autobiography to me that night, and he said, "Hey, man, great things are happening. Don't you go nowhere, baby." And I'm like, "I'm not going anywhere, Wolf. I'm sticking around." He goes, "Come here." He gives me a great big hug and put on that black cap, his long flowing black coat. Off he walked into the night, and I never saw him again. It's just, you know, his manager and his best friend Lonnie called me up the next day, and he goes, "Hey, Wes, better get your Wolfman impression together." And it was very sad. We called all sorts of people. I got to call George Lucas's people because of American Graffiti, and to tell him and break this bad news to all these folks. And he wasn't there. They said he's off on an island writing the new Star Wars movies, which was the prequels. So I didn't know they were going to be the prequels. So at the time I was excited to hear it. And no, but it was like, you know, we were getting everybody sending quotes and all these people, and Dick Clark called us up, and we got to work with him while he's recording, and he was all about the business of it. But, you know, all right, let's go, let's do this, let's get it done, all right. And let me tell you about Wolfman. Then he starts talking about him, and it's like warm and wonderful. And he's like, is that it? Thank you, goodbye. And then it was like, okay, that was my very close personal Dick Clark moment, okay. But that was the thing with Wolfman Jack. If you knew him, he was wonderful. I've met a lot of people who are nowhere near as big as Wolfman was. He was at the top of the world in radio, in showbiz. And if he can be nice and sweet and kind to everybody that he meets, then most of the people I've run into, especially in radio, are someone who don't realize they're just somebody in a closet talking to themselves. If they can't be nice and they get too full of themselves, well, they're just wrong. You know? And a lot of people, they say, what do I got to do? Like there's some special magic involved in performing. There's not. There's not. What there is just the need and desire to want to do it. The need and desire to work and hone your craft. And when you're doing like voice acting, making it real, you know, get yourself a tape recorder and record some voices. When you play it back, give it a day, then play it back later. You're going to hear stuff come out of there that's a lot more stilted and artificial sounding than you thought it would be. You got to get past that part so that you're saying things, making them sound and making them feel to yourself like it's the first time you said it, like there's real emotion. When you can record these things and play it back and listen to it a day later and believe yourself, then you're ready to go out and do these other things. People have said to me, hey, I can do a bunch of silly voices, or I can do a bunch of different sounding voices, or I can do accents. And those are all great, but they are tools. They are tools that you use with your instrument, which is not just your voice, but it's your whole acting persona. You've got to immerse yourself in the world. When I did Morrowind and started doing the voices, I'd done a lot of animation. And the animation, I'm doing characters and doing things, and they were a little more silly, and it was a little more surface, I'll give you that. When you're like, yes, we've been expecting you, come right in. You know, when you get off that was the one character, then I did a bunch of other characters, but then I started playing the game. And 600 hours into Morrowind, and dreaming about, you know, being there in Solstheim and seeing the silt striders in my sleep, I suddenly realized that when I'm sitting in the booth by myself and I started voicing stuff for Oblivion, I was no longer just Wes doing a voice. I felt like I was wearing armor as the Imperial Guards. I was them. I'm on the end of like an 18-hour shift, and I don't have time for your fork-stealing ass, you know? And, you know, when you're Hermaeus Mora, you know, you start thinking, and I started thinking about Mel Blanc, you know, he would look at photos of people and think, what do they sound like? What is their physicality? And he'd play around with it. Well, how do you do 8 million tentacles and eyeballs in a voice? I don't know.
Some of it is very effective pretending.
Very effective pretending. Hermaeus Mora was one of the most fucked up voices I ever did. But I loved him, and then he could get very creepy. Lucien LeChance, because this is back during Oblivion, and we're doing all character, one race, one voice. All of it is the Imperials. You're the Imperials. They all sound the same. They all have the same mother. Go. And... But then Mark Lampert said to me, he's like directing, and he says, Wes, this guy's a little more evil. Think of something like the Heart of Darkness, thing that. So I get an image in my head. I took a second, I thought about it, and Lucien LeChance to me in my mind was gaunt, slightly balding, stringy, loose hair. Probably looked a bit like Filch in Harry Potter, you know? And I become Lucien LeChance of the Dark Brotherhood, dear child, of Sithis. And then what do? They go ahead and draw him to look like Benjamin Bratt. Gorgeous. So he's the Heart of Darkness, evil incarnate, and gorgeous. Women are like, the perfect man. So, so you get thrown a curveball every once in a while. And that's the funny thing with video game voice acting. Sometimes you go from a description. Very rarely do they give you a photo. Shea Gorath, I got a photo. But the description I got ahead of time was they wanted somebody who could be mercurial, go from one side to the other very quickly. They wanted someone who was more stand-up-ish, and they were thinking Robin Williams at first. And I thought, Robin's too friendly, Robin Williams, even when he goes for one thing, he's a friendly guy. You want to see him? I've got baggy pants, And that's not going to be scary for Shea Gorath. But I started thinking, okay, well, if you're going stand-up, who out there is very funny but might scare you just a little bit? So I started thinking, Billy Connolly. And so I started thinking maybe a little Scottish. But then I thought, I want him moving from side to side. So I started thinking of my friends at the Irish Channel and started throwing some Irish in there. And then I started making them go back and forth depending upon his mood. And when he gets especially lethal, listen to his voice in Shivering Isles lose the accent altogether. Like when he's talking about brain pie. Care to donate? No accent. Why? Because Shea Gorath is fucking with you. He's not Scottish. He's not Irish. He's whatever the hell he really wants to be. Why does he sound like Haskell in Morrowind? Because either maybe he's off doing somewhere in the mind of Pelagius, and Haskell is having to fill in and pretend he's him, or he's pretending he's Haskell, or he's voiced by Jeff Baker, who is the voice of Haskell in Oblivion. It could be one of those things, but I like to think more along the storyline. Anyway, I digress. When you develop a character and you're doing something for the video games, where do you start?
Well, with Gob, it was kind of cool because I'm going to flatter myself here.
Please.
They gave me a description that the artwork wasn't finished yet for the ghouls. And so they said, we want someone who's been victimized by this radiation. Basically, they wanted someone whose throat was rotted out. And so as rough as I could make it. And so I did.
They like it rough.
Yeah, and so I also thought, well, this person's probably not a very happy person.
Well.
So I didn't put a lot of lilt in it. So I did the just,
Like this, and delivered the lines with a lot of breath and as much emotion as you can do with this.
and I kept feeling like I was channeling the Bouvier sisters. But they told me later when they finished the artwork, they tweaked it somewhat more to match the voice that
They'll
I had
do
done
that
for them.
sometimes.
And,
They will.
and I felt like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's nice. I must have done a good job.
Oh, you did. How many people love the Fallout 3 Fallout 3? Not mutants. What were they?
The gob, ghouls.
Ghouls. Yes. Now, we have here, and I don't know how we're going to give it away. Two things to give away today. From Fallout 3, we have the game, and inside the game, of course, is the the Vault Dwellers Survival Guide, and the game for Xbox 360. And this is signed by both Mike and myself. And we've taken this out to give it as a separate thing, and it is the Fallout 3 poster signed by Mike and I. And we're going to give these away tonight, and I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but I think what we should probably do is a sound-alike contest for our characters, any of the characters that we've done. Does that sound fair? Or no? The guys who are out there saying I might not be able to do those characters are like, F you, man. Flip a coin. Flip a frickin' coin. We could do a rock, paper, scissors to the death. Yes, you have a suggestion. It could be Fat Fuck Frank, yes, from A Dirty Shame. I wonder where you got that idea, sir. Yeah, the thing is, people kept calling me up when I lost 180 pounds over the past year and a half, and people call me up saying, I guess Fat Fuck Frank is now dead. No, he's just Skinny Fuck Frank, you know? He's always been a fuck unless he's been rated R, and then he's a freak. But not if you're a lip reader, by the way. I remember when they did A Dirty Shame, and it was going before the ratings board 2 days after the wardrobe malfunction with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, and suddenly the board was like, they're cracking walnuts with their butt cheeks. They were so uptight. And John had to go in, and they're giving him a NC-17, and he was contractually obligated to put out an R. And he said, well, what do I have to cut? And they said, what do you need me to cut in order to make it an R? And they said, we stopped counting after the first 10 minutes. It's like, all right. So I get to say now that I was Selma Blair's boyfriend in an NC-17 film. Like, that's ever going to happen again. But
actually, you can make it Fit Fuck Frank.
Fit Fuck Frank.
Yeah, and then you just adjust the A in the tattoo. Yeah.
There we go. Well, you don't have to change the monogram. All of his monogrammed leathers could remain the same.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very. Or Triple F, as they called me around the set and on the streets of Harford Road, so people didn't hear the word fuck every 2 seconds. So I think what we'll do right now, we still have some time here. We've got a good half an hour left in our program. And if anybody has any questions, come on up to the mic so they can hear us out there on Twitch. And we will start narrowing things down, and let us know if you have an impression you would like to do. And then we'll start bringing everybody up for the breakdown at the end to see who wins. Come on up there.
Oh, first victim.
Come on down.
Oh.
I'm short. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can adjust it to whatever you would like it to be.
I'm moving to here.
I know you know your way around a microphone.
Well,
Tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Nugget.
Hi, Nugget.
I'm the guy that does the arcade department. I also do a little game show called MagFest Versus.
Everybody go, ooh.
That's
Nice.
more of a boo, sir.
No, they're not saying boo. They're saying, ooh.
Well, it's not so much a question. I just I thought it was kind of funny because you were talking about some of the other local actors that you work with.
Yeah.
And one of my personal favorites is I love Jan Johns.
Jan Johns is awesome.
She's a wonderful person to be with.
Yeah.
But I had a funny story about her because my day job is I'm a boring government official and stuff on here.
You don't have to be boring, sir. You can be an interesting government official.
Not at the IRS.
Oh, you could still be interesting.
I try. Well, one of my favorite things is we have these, we have mandatory training. And we
Yeah.
have these videos that we have to watch. And one of my favorite ones that I had was, it's workplace violence. And the IRS, they try to be entertaining, is a really good word for it. So one of the things that they like to do is, they have this thing where it's the stereotypical old gruff man that finally just snaps in the office. And then you see, like, it's this play out where the guy goes, he's sitting at his desk, and he goes, they spelled my name wrong. They spelled it wrong. I'm just gonna do it. And he brings a Glock in, and then you see this manager
Did you say he brought a Glock in?
Yeah, just he has a Glock, and he just shows it right down the cubicle.
Nice.
And then there's this manager at the very end, and she does, and if I can, it's better if I turn right here. She just does this whole thing where she goes, how could this have happened? And I look at it, and I go, oh my God, that's Jan. And it's like 2004, 2005. So I messaged her about it.
Hold on. We have to bring Jan in on this.
Oh God, no, don't call her.
Oh, no, hang on.
Let me finish this on.
You finish. You go ahead. I'll dial while you
But
finish.
I
Finish the
message
story.
her on her, and I tell her, I'm like, I saw you in my personal training. And she's like, oh, that's from so long ago. Wait, where do you work again? And I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta see you later. Bye.
Oh
It's
my.
April 15th, ladies and gentlemen.
Jan, can I bring you up on a mic with everybody? Yeah, hold on. Yes, we are at MAGLabs. Say hi, Jan. So we just had someone come up and tell a story about you.
Oh no.
About an industrial video you did in an office situation where somebody pulled a Glock on you.
Pulled a Glock? A gun?
Yes.
Oh no.
And come up to the mic and tell her what her line was again.
It's a workplace violence video for the government.
I remember. I think I still have nightmares.
Yes. You were absolutely wonderful.
And tell her what she said, her line.
How could this have happened?
Do you remember that, Jan?
How come this is happening?
Yeah, how could this have happened?
Oh, that's exactly what I said on my wedding night.
Bravo, you win.
So, guys, that was totally worth it, right?
Yeah.
Aww. You guys, I'm homesick. I miss you guys.
We wish you were here. You're coming back home soon, right?
Yeah, I'll be back in October.
Well, we need to get you back, and we're all going to go out for a bite. We're all going to go for a bite, right?
Right.
Woo! Oh my gosh, you guys, you are hanging with one of the best humans on the planet.
She's,
tonight.
of course,
You are
talking
very-
about Mike Rawson.
Wow.
Oh my, there's two of the most incredible humans on this planet.
Well, we miss you terribly. We wish you were here. We're signing.
I love you.
We're signing copies, and we're giving away copies of Fallout 3, one game and one poster. And Mike and I both signed it. If you were here, we'd have you sign it. Tell us your favorite character from the Fallout world.
Oh, well, I love Sierra just because she's probably closest to myself. Like, she's pretty nutty. So, Sierra, Petrovita or Petrovita, depending on if you're playing Fallout 4 or Fallout 3. If you're playing the DLC. The Nuka-Cola Quantum Girl, you know, the museum.
Yes. Well,
So, I love her.
well, everybody loved her. Remember that from Nuka World? Anybody raise your hands if you remember that? Nobody raised their hands, Jan. No, they did. They did. They're looking at me like, you bastard.
Well, there was a Bitter Cup. She's a runner-up. I liked her, if anybody knows her.
Bitter
From Fallout
Cup.
3.
Bitter Cup, yeah. Oh, there's some Bitter Cup fans out there. They're lighting lighters right now and holding them up for Bitter Cup.
It's swaying.
Nice.
Well, we miss you, Jan. We wish that you were here. And hang on a sec. I'm going to pull the first card, and I'll tell you what it says, and then you get to say it. We have character cards, right? So we're going to give you Bitter Cup to read it. Hold on. I'm setting you down for 1 second. Let's pull a card. Pick a card, any card. Okay, hang on a sec. Your phrase is follow the setting sun to the ends of the world and take a left. Okay? All right, here's the first of the quotes. Go ahead.
Wait. Say it again.
Follow the setting sun to the ends of the world and take a left.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This is Jan.
Follow the setting sun to the ends of the world and take a left.
Whose was that? Raise your hand if you wrote that down. There we go. Oh, now I don't know. I'm going to go genderless, so it's a lovely young lady or man. And is that a hyena outfit? In a hyena outfit, it's absolutely adorable, Jan.
I love that.
It would scare your dog Molly to death.
Everyone
Yeah,
loves a lovely hyena.
Molly misses you too. She's in the car right now, actually.
Everybody say hi, Molly.
Hi, Molly.
Tell him to say the word CAT.
Oh, everybody say C-A-T on 3. 1, 2, 3.
C-A-T.
No.
Don't spell it. Say the word. Okay. I repeat. Say your name. I say your name. All right. Remember, you're going to say C-A-T on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Cat.
She's running back and forth in the car. That's her kryptonite, is the word cat. Okay.
Where are you at, Jan?
My mom and I are driving the streets of LA, and I'm trying to show we're see, it's not so
So
bad.
you guys have just made a dog bark in Los Angeles.
Look how powerful you guys are.
Well, we love you, and we're going to jump off, but we can't wait to see you again. Everybody yell out, "We love you, Jan."
We love you, Jan.
Aw, I love you too.
All right. If we hear more people coming up telling stories of videos they've seen you in, we'll be careful to call now that we know your mother's in the car.
Now you got to know this is. I learned it from watching her.
We love you, Jan. We'll see you later.
I love you too. All right, take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's awesome. Jan Johns, everybody. So before we get to our next one here, Mike and I will each reach in and pick out one card. Reach in, pick a card, any card.
And Teller will take one too, I think.
There we go. Now what, you want to do it with a character?
Sure. Oh, I took two.
All right. Which character are you going to do that as, Mike?
Oh, I get to pick?
You get to pick.
Let's see. I'm going to do this as Droopy.
Oh, Droopy.
Droopy the
All right.
dog.
Is pronouncing my B's as V's makes me sound Russian, then Soviet.
Could anybody make that out? Yeah. There were one or two got it and they loved it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to do this one as Mo Cronin from Fallout 4. Cream whack up chicken to the weatherman. Who wrote that? Who wrote that one? Cream whack up chicken to the weatherman. Was that you too? You wrote that, Scott? Ah, my brother. What does it mean?
I have no idea.
Cream. Yeah, oh, wait a minute. I remember this. This is what Mom used to say at Thanksgiving, right? Cream whack up chicken to the weatherman. We'd ask what we're having. And we'd be like, oh, Mom. But no?
No, it's just something random.
Let's get another card
All
real
right,
quick. Grab another
Another
card.
card.
Ah. All right, I'm going to do this one as Shea Gorath, all right? Look here, you off-color, low-budget Gandalf the Gay. It's pronounced Balrog, not ball sack. Who is that? That was you? All right. We seem to be going from this side of the room here. Very lovely. And Mike, what is yours?
Well, I'm trying to think now.
Can I see? Can I see what you're going to say?
Sure. It's kind of strange.
Oh, shame on you. Can you sing like Elton John?
I could try.
You know, like,
Okay.
so you sing that last. Start off the first part as Gob, and then when you get that's why. Guess that's why. Do the second part as Elton John. So it's a Gob Elton John duet.
Gob to Elton John. They sound pretty close. So okay.
Yeah. These days, unfortunately, sorry, Elton.
Oh yeah, no.
Now you get to watch her leave out of the window.
And I guess that's why they call it window pane.
Who is that? All this side of the room, man. That's that. Did anybody over here fill out any cards? Okay, we'll get to. Well, hopefully, we'll get to them here soon. Yes, sir. Step up. State your name.
Well,
I will.
All right, Will.
no.
Well,
My name is Beau Lachance.
Beau Lachance.
So obviously you're.
Oh, everybody. Hi, Beau Lachance.
So naturally, I'm a big fan of your character, Lucien.
Lucien Lachance is a friend of yours as well, dear child who sitteth.
Very good. And I lived in Boston for a while, so I'm also a fan of anything Fallout 4, including the Silver Shroud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, could you tell
Do
me?
you know where the mistress of mystery is? Okay.
Yeah, in my hotel room. So, I'm a big fan of all Bethesda games. So, could you tell me maybe what was going through your head when you first got the call to work with Bethesda and what that was like?
When I got the first call with Bethesda, was basically from Morrowind, and I'd only done a few things. I'd done Unreal 2 as a video game where I basically was playing everyone who ever died. So I spent like 3 hours screaming, oh, now your entrails are coming out. Okay, they've shot off your toes, you know, this sort of thing, you know. They have just filleted your nutsack. So I didn't know what I was getting into when I came in, and I had all these great different characters. And then for the first one, I worked with Todd Howard going into the booth, and we did Absolute Pitch when they were downtown D.C., and it was great. I loved it. I became very much addicted to doing it. So I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. I'd never done a role-playing game before. Like I said, the experience of doing it came in really handy when I did Oblivion later on. And I became addicted to a great many role-playing games. The only ones I'd ever really played were Fallout 1 and 2. You know, at the top-down turn-based games. And this was something completely different, an entire open world. One of my brothers, not Scott, but Rick, was very much addicted to the, what is the one game where you go conquer and you have little build the villages and you go around? I forget what it's called. I'll remember it later. I think it was one of those, Civilization, but he loved those. And then I said, you got to try Morrowind when it came out. We both did it, and I was playing on the computer. And he cursed me for a while because both of us, you know how it is. You're like, I'm just going to play for half an hour. And the next thing you know, you hear birds chirping, and your day is toast. So, yeah, that's more than you need to know, right?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Any other questions? Does anybody here have an impression of any of the characters?
Or any impressions at all, for that matter. I like hearing them.
Oh, you do have an come right behind. No, you go first. We'll do a question. Get right behind this gentleman. We'll start a little line.
Not a question, I have an impression.
Yes, get right behind this gentleman.
Oh, all right. I was
Question,
going to be like,
impression?
impressions take the lead, please. But since I'm actually up here, you talked about radio days, radio impressions, and bits on that. I would just love to hear any, like, one of your greatest thoughts or memories on that besides, like, the Wolfman Jack, which might be up there the list.
Of just
yeah.
doing
Hi,
the
I'm
voices.
Greg.
Hi,
Yes.
Greg. So you're talking about any voices or anything like that?
Notably, like radio impression time periods, sketches, you know, the fun on-air stuff.
I mean, I'm wearing for the first time in probably a decade my old WHFS jacket. I was Wild West on the morning show. Now I've turned into Mild West in my. But for that, sometimes it's just meeting people, you know, getting a chance to meet and talk to people like George Carlin, and going out to first Lollapalooza and finding myself on the back of a golf cart with Abruzzi and Eddie Vedder and mudding it for like a half an hour, and we're supposed to get to the stage and showing up looking like we'd been to Burning Man. You know, things like that, just a lot of fun. But probably as far as voices and things of that sort, the biggest thrills were the early days of doing stand-up comedy. When you go out on stage, and the first couple times were terrifying. I remember there was an open mic night, and I followed a guy who juggled knives. Never a good thing. And yeah, I had all this material planned out. And I realized that when A, nobody's laughing, and B, you're not pausing and you're not doing it right and you're too nervous, you'll burn through that stuff really quick. I was up there for, God, probably 45 minutes till I looked over the timer and realized only 2 had gone by. And I basically reached over, grabbed the timer, turned it off, and said, "Thank you very much, everybody. That's my time. If you need me, I'll be home hanging in my closet." And took off. It got better from there. And getting to do characters in sketch comedy, the William Shatner School of Acting, and eventually being able to do my impression for William Shatner, which is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Those are highlights for me. What about you, pal?
Well, I don't have the long list of brush with greatness as you do, because you've gotten around a lot more than I do. But I have met some great people. Hey, I know. Well, it's just a question of volume. But I remember very fondly meeting Lily Tomlin in the green room of Panorama. She was a sweetheart, and she signed an autograph for us. She wouldn't shake hands because she had a cold, bless her heart. And she was really, really, really nice. I've gotten to meet some pretty big people along the line, and so many wonderful people that are big without having to be, in the limelight and on top of the spot and everything. I'm trying to think of anyone who stands out huge. Like I can't.
Well, what was a
believe I'm
big
talking
moment
to
for you in voiceover that was like thrilling for you? Something in doing an impression or doing a voice that you were like, oh, this is it.
Well, just being asked is great. I love that. The fact is, I just love being in the sound booth. As cramped and claustrophobic as it is, I like the feeling of being in there playing, just having fun and playing on a microphone, and having someone feed you, advice and guidance how to take it up this way or this
How to
way.
take it up what?
Take it up a ladder or down that
okay.
way. Just coaching you.
Thank you.
Because that helps you shape it.
Here you go. Read this one. Give me that one as Radio Freedom from Fallout 4. No. Don Knotts. I want that one as Don Knotts.
Okay.
Don Knotts. Here we go.
Let me think this through for a second, because it's got to be applied correctly. This is too silly. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
That's lovely. Lovely indeed.
There's something you don't know, mister. I'm not left-handed either.
And I'll do this one here from Hermaeus Mora. When you clean a vacuum cleaner, you become the vacuum cleaner. Now, we got to get down to the business of giving some things away, because we're officially coming into the last 5 minutes before we take too much time and really piss everybody off. So right here, I have tickets. These go to the charity auctions, okay?
That's the ticket.
These tickets you can take and drop them in any box, and we'll give you a shot at one of the charity auctions that are right out here across from Rock Island. In those, there is a Fallout 4 Silver Shroud shirt from Bethesda, really soft, really nice. It's a 3X, and it's got the GNR, Good Neighbor Radio, on the sleeve, and it's signed by me as the Silver Shroud with a nice quote about death is coming for you and will be your shroud. Oops, you'll be the second person after this person. Yes, there's no cutting in line here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not sure how we're going to give these away, but what I want you to do is look tomorrow, because they're going to be closing it early, is go down to there are a lot of great gifts, and you can buy 8 tickets for a very cheap price, or buy more and drop these in. There's 2 tickets on each one for you to keep the number and one for you to write your information on the other side. Make sure you write your information on it. Otherwise, you're just throwing away a ticket. And then you can go drop them in. If you want to win the shirt, this will be the way to do that. In the meantime, we're going to be giving away this Fallout 3 signed edition and this Fallout 3 poster, suitable for framing, as are both
Or
Mike and
wrapping
I, as
fish.
you get pictures of us later tonight at MAGLabs. So, you were going to do an impression. We're going to give one of these away with an impression. If we like your impression, we'll give you one set of tickets, and maybe you will win one of these. All right, step on up.
All right. Also, if I'm going to be quite frank, I am a little bit nervous, so if my voice cracks and falters, please attribute it to late onset puberty.
All right. All right. I do that for myself all the time. It's the Peter Brady syndrome.
Oh, no.
And what's your name?
Oh, my name is Gabby.
Gabby. All right, Gabby, go.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so first is, hello there. You might know me from such notable positions such as being God, being amazing, and being on that stupid talk show with Alex Trebek. Oh, how I hate that man.
So that's an impression of Sean Connery.
That is correct.
Which is lovely, except it's not one of the characters we do. But still, here's some tickets.
Thank you.
And Gabby will keep you in mind to come up and we'll do a vote here at the end. So stick around. Yes, sir.
A mystery to be sure. You have murdered a man in cold blood, and justice must be served.
Ooh, the Silver Shroud via Rod Serling.
Really?
No, there's a little Rod Serling. I love Rod Serling, you know. Picture yourself in a voiceover panel doing an impression of the Silver Shroud. You've just won a ticket to the Charity Zone. Stand by, huh? No, I was in 3 and 4. Yeah. No, we'll bring you back up. People will vote and see. We'll get our top 2 will win. These step right on up.
Hello, my name's Kat. I actually had both a question and an impression, which is unfortunately a character I don't think you've done, but it's really the only one.
Let's give it a go.
Okay, so all right, hello, my name is C-3PO, and as you can tell, I've been having to deal with this very irritating small robot that has to be following me around. Really, I don't know exactly how I'm going to get rid of him. It's just, he's there and following me around, and there's all this sand, and oh God, I'm going to die, aren't I?
Very nice.
Very good.
So the reason I was going to ask is that I have a very high soprano voice, but I've been trying to figure out ways to deepen it without, like, slowly down my range a bit, because I can only really do high-piping robots very easy. Or if I'm doing a little bit of a Cockney accent, I can do that really easy. That's fine, but I can't really do very deep down without it kind of hurting. And
What are you doing tomorrow at 1 p.m.?
I'm probably going to be in the tea room, because I work there.
You should come here. Because in this room at 1 p.m. tomorrow, Mike and I are doing the video game workshop, and we're going to get people, we're going to walk you through some things, and we're going to have scripts, actual scripts from video games, and we will work with you on adjusting your diaphragm, trying to speak in a lower register, adjusting your voice, but trying to keep it real. Remember,
would be great.
trying to change your octave or your range sometimes takes it out of a natural sound,
Yeah,
and
you
it
get
sounds
kinda
like you're
tinny.
forcing it, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah, 'cause
you
that's the
want
problem, go down
to
here, it's
use
like-
your tool and your instrument to be real.
Yeah.
Also, a real quick cheat in a pinch, nitrous oxide.
Well, no, that's the opposite.
No, helium
say-
will lighten.
Oh, a
it.
nitrous. There we
Nitrous will
go.
lower it.
Okay, I saw that you said, to be honest, I thought you said tie your socks up, and I'm like, what the fuck do my socks have
Hey,
to do with
it's
that?
worth a try.
I mean,
Here you go. Here is your ticket for the charity. Enjoy and hope you win that. Stick around. We're going to bring everybody up for a vote. Yes, step right up. Your name, sir.
Oh, hi, I'm Jared.
Hello.
Now, are you going to do an impression or?
Yeah, just I do like doing voices. I think it stems from being in a growing up as an only child and just being able to need to constantly entertain myself.
That's true. That's good.
So there are some really I like a lot of eccentric stuff that's on YouTube. So there's some funny cartoons that's done by this animator called Oni and G, and so I like to watch those silly cartoons. And so I'm gonna imitate one of the he parodied the Harry Potter series. So I'm gonna parody a professor.
Okay.
on it. I mean,
Well,
Today, children, we'll be turning the summoning spell Accio, one of the oldest tricks in history. Just swish and flick the shit out of your wand, like this!
okay, so yeah.
by the way, great voice for you to answer telemarketers with.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Here's
They all
your
liked it,
ticket.
yeah.
Stick around. We will bring you up in just a few and see. Good luck on that. You had an impression of Triple F. Come on up. You made this bed. Now it's time to shit it.
My name's JD.
Hi, JD.
Hi, JD.
So I wanted to do Fox. However,
You can do Fox.
every time I think about it in my head, I go Yoda.
I think Yoda Fox would be great. A nice hybrid would be perfect.
All right. Damn it. Shit. I can't do it. Huh?
Just spit it out, man. Don't worry about it. Just spit it out.
Just do it.
Never advisable.
I don't have to picture it.
Nobody needs the fool, Johnson.
Damn it, I have to hear it again. Shit.
I win again.
You care about me? My name is Fox. I've lived in this cave my whole life.
I love that both of those are in there, but here's what I want you to say. Win again I do.
When again I do.
Come get your ticket for charity, sir. We'll bring you up in a moment. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Do you have I would like to hear you do the announcer for the Washington Capitals. You're wearing the sweater. I state your name.
Steven.
Hi, Steven.
Hi, Steven.
We also would have accepted I state your name.
All right, so voice from the PA.
Yeah, the PA announcer for the Washington Capitals, the arena voice. You can do it. You can either introduce a player, introduce the team onto the ice, or announce the final Stanley Cup win.
This is all the pressure right now.
Wait a minute. I got no pressure at all.
It is. It's nerve-wracking. Absolutely nerve-wracking.
It's all better when you're
Yeah. Just it's like standing there needing to pee and thinking about the waterfalls. Just do that and it comes rolling right out. Don't remember, we're looking for voice, not urine. Just wanted to clarify.
Remember to shut your throat.
Gold scored by number 8, Alexander Ovechkin.
Cool, but give me a quick Alex, like a whip, and then stretch that O, baby. Try it one more time.
What was that again?
You give it like Alex, and then stretch that O. Yeah, let it roll. One more.
Goal scored by Alex Ovechkin.
We have a few more tickets. Anyone else want to give it a go? We have a couple late arrivals. Anybody want to give a go? We are obviously taking any impression whatsoever, like your Uncle Larry. Yes, come on up. Try, Gab, you want to do one more? Please, give a Hermaeus Mora.
You can do it.
If I am going to be quite honest, it makes me deeply, deeply uncomfortable when people introduce themselves as Hermaeus Mora stands.
You will get an extra ticket if you promise me that you will do that in an adjacent bathroom stall to someone tonight. Now we have a couple people coming in. Do you want to do an impression real quick and try to win one of the posters or the autographed video game? No, they do not. They do not. Now, I would like my hyena to come up here. Since you don't want to do an impression, I will give you a charity ticket for an interpretive dance. Now, does everybody know I had the time of my life from Flashdance? All right, so we're gonna start singing that, and then you do your interpretive dance. Are you ready? I had the time of my life. I've never felt this way before, and I swear it's the truth. Blah 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 blah. Come out and give us the flash dance pose real quick. You know, the one over the chair kind of thing. Come get your ticket. Ah, lovely. All right, folks, we're leaving a couple of these on the table, so we'll find ways to give these away. However, actually what I'll do is I will give away a ticket right now to anybody who can show me a picture, a shirt, anything that shows Elder Scrolls or Fallout. Elder Scrolls or Fallout. I'll take it. Very inventive. Very inventive. Anybody else? Anybody else? Sure. Okay, very nice. Silver Shroud, there you go. See, people have figured this out. You don't actually have to have it with you in the age of technology. Oh, that's right. You weren't wearing it today, but that's all right. All right.
You got the socks.
Holy shit, you're wearing the socks the whole time.
Doesn't even know how he's dressed.
I am. That was very funny. He took a picture of us.
Well, there you go.
I will hang on to these and we'll find a way to distribute them. But now I'd like everybody who did an impression to make their way up to the stage and stand here in front of us. Through the votes of your peers, we will decide who we're going to narrow it down to 2 people who will be our winners. All right, here we go. We're going to start down here with Hyena Flashdance. The goal is to get something better than golf applause. Okay, here we go. Hermaeus Mora. Your mom on helium. The announcer of your Washington Capitals. I see it says Splunk on the back of the shirt, but I'm trying to remember. You did, the Silver Shroud. Yoda Fox. And C-3PO. All right. We're going to do it one more time real quick, guys. Remember, you've seen them all. Let's do it one more time. Here we go. Yoda, okay, C330. Yoda Fox. Silver Shroud. Caps announcer. Your mom. Hermaeus Mora. Interpretive flash dance. I am going to ask Hermaeus Mora, Capitals announcer, and Fox Yoda to stay. And I want to thank everyone else as they make their way back to the tables. What you guys did to your mom is a shame. This is our last three. Now, I want you to know we only have 2 things to give away. The third person will receive, the third runner-up will receive 2 tickets to charity. Okay? However, the winners will receive an additional ticket to charity and either a poster or a video game. Are we ready? Hermaeus Mora. Capitals announcer. Yoda Fox. You do realize that if we had lost in the Stanley Cup final, you would not be getting nearly as much applause right now. One more time, guys. Yoda Fox. Caps announcer. Hermaeus Mora. Ladies and gentlemen, third prize and the winner of 2 tickets for charity to possibly win the Silver Shroud autographed shirt goes to Hermaeus Mora. Second place. And the winner of 1 more charity ticket plus the second choice of either the game or the poster goes to Yoda Fox. Here's your ticket, and you can stand by whichever one is here. We have the poster, once again, signed by Mike and I. Can I hear an ooh? And we have the game with the survival guide, the game, and it's autographed by Mike and I. Ooh. Also not signed, but talked about by Jan Johns. So, let's see. Here is 1 ticket there. And 1 ticket. Oh, you have your ticket. So I'm going to hold this. You can just have the ticket. We know it's going to you. You have won the top as the Caps announcer. So what I need you to do is to say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the ice your Stanley Cup champion, Washington Capitals.
I don't know if I can do
They're
that.
already on the ice, dude.
It was, please welcome to the ice.
You're Stanley Cup champion.
Okay, yeah. Please welcome to the ice your Stanley Cup champions, the Washington Capitals!
Now, what will it be? Will it be the poster?
It will be the poster as my #1 draft pick.
Number 1 draft pick goes to the poster. You, sir, now receive the game and the survival guide. Is that what you would have chosen? No? Either. So you were happy.
Either.
And you've how many tickets did you end up with now? You ended up with 4 tickets for the charity auction, yes? If they're They're lost in my pocket, yeah. More than one. So remember, the charity auction tomorrow will be ending early. I'm not sure what time, but
Always, you know.
Mike and I will be here tomorrow on this panel, and we will help you. If you want to be a video game voice actor, we'll tell you anything. We'll tell you how to go about it, how to build your resume and your demo tape, how to modulate your voice, and we're going to run you through actual video game scripts that will be here on the screen, and you will act. We will not be filming this on Twitch. I'm sorry, because you will be able to get your lessons and your acting in private. No one will see you, like tonight when they were watching you guys do this up here. Yeah, I know, perfect. That's great. Everybody saw you being their mom on all across the country. But make sure you go out there to the charity auctions tomorrow. You buy the tickets. They're very inexpensive. You drop them in. It's going to be a raffle. The shirt from the Silver Shroud signed is there. A lot of very cool items, and it's going to a great cause. So make sure you check that out. And make sure you tell your friends to come here for the workshop tomorrow because, you know, I know it's 1 p.m. tomorrow, and that means 6 a.m. MAGLabs time. But really, it's the last day. What have you got to lose? Come on out. This is Michael Allen Rosson.
This is Wes Johnson.
And we'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. The party starts now.